Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. We're joined on the Sweetwater Minute today by Sweetwater's Director of Product Optimization, Daniel Fisher.
Hey, Mitch.
Great to have you join us again. And you just came back from a very cool trip. You were in Chicago for Knobcon.
Yeah, that was Knobcon 2016. They called it Jack to the Future, Part 5.
Nice.
I had been to them before, but this is the largest year ever. They had over 600 people visiting, and there were 2 floors full of rooms with modular systems everywhere, cases for modulars, panels for modulars, and it was just crazy to see how many people are into this now.
Right, absolutely. So it really is based around synthesis, analog synthesis in particular, or other types of things as well?
There was both analog and digital, and there was even video synthesis going on there, which is pretty interesting.
Right.
And then, which I didn't completely expect, but there were actually hardware keyboards there as well. And then, of course, controllers and sequencers and things like that. So it was pretty thrilling going to each of the different booths and seeing where we are on this stuff.
I bet. And was Eurorack a big component of what was going on there?
Yeah, I would say like most of all the stuff in racks was now Eurorack. There were a few of the Model 15 type things, but Eurorack is definitely a major component of that.
And besides the show floor, if you will, the trade show floor type thing, were there other events going on? Were there speakers?
So the Saturday night they had a dinner, and it was called the Golden Knob Dinner because Moog used to put the gold, they'd give you a golden knob for the filter. But they had Bill Hemsath, who was at RA Moog from 1969 to 1971, and he was the person probably most responsible for what became the Minimoog Model D. And we were all sitting there having dinner and drinks and got to listen to him to tell the story of almost 45 minutes of every little detail about how that thing came about. And it was really after you heard about each of the little coincidences that happened or just something that happened, you realize, wow, that like set in stone some really important things about synthesis. For example, he was talking about how he went into a supply room to get a keyboard and some of the keys on the end didn't work and he sawed them off, and that made the number of keys that are on a Minimoog today.
Wow.
Things like he had created an XY controller and he had certain pots for that, but then on a panel to the left there was a slot, so he took that apart and put a pot in there and then found a wheel and stuck it on, and it's like pitch wheel, bam, and now find one without one,
Right.
And then the mod wheel, and then even the act of sticking a keyboard into a synthesizer. Initially a synthesizer was its own thing. It wasn't supposed to be a keyboard instrument. It was its own device, and so it radically changed what everybody thinks of what a synthesizer is. And then just in terms of instead of modular, he was talking about how he was watching live, how people were struggling, and it had teams of people that would run up and put all the cables and knobs into position, and they showed cartoons between each song in order to do this. And he was even saying some people came just for the cartoons, And so he went on this long thing about how they had tried every possible way of making presets. And at one point, he said they had this monstrosity with so much wire it would go around the earth 3 times. He was probably being facetious, but you can imagine trying to create presets for every possible knob. It would be just bulky thing, and so they gave up on that. But after each of the things, you realize, wow, this is each of these little coincidences came up with what the Model D was. So that was a very interesting dinner. And then other things they had a chill out room where people were jamming and they had equipment laid out. And then they had this thing called a bug out room where it was a little more aggressive music, and then they had video synthesis going on. And in a neat synthesis of old and new, they had a guy with oil liquids in a glass bowl over a projector that was then being digitized and then digitally manipulated and then being projected onto a screen. And they were doing that in time with the music and other crazy things.
And there were workshops going on as well, right?
Yeah, they had like 4 tables in a quad set up with soldering iron stations, and there were different size modules you could build, and they had someone helping them out, and it was really fun just watching all these people soldering at the same time. And if you're an old timer like me, the smell of solder is just it's unmistakable. And
Right.
so it was a really good time.
So there were also manufacturer exhibits and booths, correct?
Yeah, and so not only the modular people, but some of the standard synthesis hardware people that we normally would expect would be there. For example, Yamaha was there. They were showing off a new update for the Montage, which has that big lit up knob that controls many things about the rhythm and effects and stuff and parameters. And I had always wanted that to be controlled by something other than the knob and the foot, which both work well, but I'm a breath controller guy and I'm also an alternate controller guy. So I was really hoping for CC control of that, and they delivered in spades. You can now dial up any CC number to work the big knob, which then works everything else.
Nice.
So significant feature to that. And they also have the Montage Connect software, which allows you to bring little sequences that you've done on the keyboard into your DAW and do it very conveniently via USB. It has some neat tricks where you can pull all the drum parts, even if you've done them, it's one thing with effects, it'll pull them all separately dry into separate tracks so then you can rework them later. I thought that was pretty amazing.
And Korg was there?
Korg was there. They had the Volca series, and they've added one more. Now they have the Kick. And so we had someone set up all of them together, and they did a little routine for us, and that was pretty catchy, what you can do with those little pedals, and especially someone who really knows what they're doing with them.
Right, right. And I just came back from 909 Day out in Los Angeles, where Roland introduced 30 plus new products, and 3 of those were on display at Knobcon.
Yeah, so they had the Boutique series. So they had the vocoder, the bass line, and the rhythm composer. And all 3 of those, again, they had them hooked up for us, and someone did a performance for us on that. And so we're very lucky to capture all that.
Right.
And then Behringer. One of the big exciting things that's not here yet, but everyone's talking about the DeepMind 12. Very exciting. And so far I had only seen videos, very short clips, and mostly just engineers talking about it. This time I got to go and really play it, and I'm telling you, all the hype is real. It's a really exciting keyboard, and the price point they're hitting at is very exciting. So I'm crossing my fingers for that for maybe late this year, next year. I'm really looking forward to that.
And Arturia was there with the Matrix Brute.
Yeah, again, another keyboard that I've seen on video a lot, and seen on pictures on our wall in our hallway, but had not gotten a chance to touch it, play with it. And I had a good time with that, and they had one of their experts go and play very high quality audio demo for us right there. So we're looking forward to showing that.
Nice, nice. And of course I know that you're into using guitar pedals with your synthesizers and really taking advantage of that processing power, and Earthquaker was at Knobcon.
Yeah, so they had every pedal they make, and it's quite a line of pedals, and a very diverse line of pedals. And they had them all wired in series, and then a Jupiter 6, like an original Jupiter 6. And Lisa from Earthquaker Devices played that while I just jammed on all of the pedals in real time. And I got to say, that was a bunch of fun, and we managed to capture that as well. So
nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing what that looked like.
Nice. Well, it sounds like Knobcon was really a great time this year.
It was. And it was fun meeting a lot of people. There were a lot of people who came up to me and said, "Oh, I've seen your videos and this and that," and just telling the Sweetwater story and just kind of learning some of their stories too. And it was a really great group of people. It was a fun convention, I got to say.
Nice. So it's an absolute must-attend for a synth geek.
Yes, it is, and I will be going to the next one.
Right. Well, we'll look forward to your report next year when you come back to that. To check out videos of everything that was happening at Knobcon this year, visit the links in the description below this video. Daniel, thanks for coming in. Sounds like you had a great trip.
I did.
It was great to see you. And thank you for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute. I'm Mitch Gallagher.